Oh, what the heck. Hi. So, for some reason, the video capture devices part is not working here. So, let me see if I can make this happen. Okay. But it's not there. Video output is currently active. I mean, I guess I don't have to have the little video window in the corner down here, but I thought that was a thing I was going to do. And it worked on the previous stream. That's the part I really don't understand. FaceTime HD camera built in. Let's call up the system preferences. Is there anything in here that would help me? Not that I know of. And actually, if someone who's watching, if you could just say in the live chat whether you can hear me, because if you can't hear me, then the rest of this doesn't really matter. Okay, well, you can hear me, you just can't see me. I guess the seeing isn't that important. I mean, all you would see is my office and possibly the weird lighting therein. Really what's important here is the designing. So let's see. Which is going to be here. Let's see how far. There we go. So that window is about that tall. And man, what happened to the video capture device? I don't understand that part. Well. It's really weird. All right, well, we'll just go without it. Maybe you'll have to live without my mug. Okay, so here's MeyerWeb. This is the production site, as you can hopefully see up there, meyerweb.com. And now over on another window that you can't see because I don't think that you guys need to see the FTP view of my website. I just changed UI to UI-old, and if we hit reload, there we go. That is MeyerWeb right now. If any of you all are on MeyerWeb and you hit reload, that should be what you see. I bet it's even responsive. Whoa, check that out. So very responsive. Okay. Right, so having done that, I'm going to set up a new folder called UI, which is the name of the old folder. And inside that, I'm going to set up a meyerweb.css, which will be opened here. You can ignore all of that because that was another experiment that I did at one point. So this is what's going to drive this. So just to make sure that I've wired it all up correctly, I'm going to do a body background. Oh, FFD, just for the heck of it. Yep, there we go. All right, now I'm going to do away with that. I don't really want that color. I just wanted to make sure that everything was in the right place. Okay. Yeah, I was going to start with messing with the structure, but it occurs to me that if I just leave this as is, I'm probably going to get email from people saying, dude, your style sheet's broke. And so I'm going to put something in here first. Let's try this. HTML before content. This site is under construction. Because some of you will remember the days when that was a thing. This site is under construction. So I'll do that as generated content there in the before of the HTML. And yeah, there we go. That might also not be noticeable. I want to say that note that you know what? Yeah, there we go. But I actually want that to stand out. All right, so obviously I'm going to be going down a tangent here as it is anyway. What should I do? Well, it is an under construction banner. Oh, by the way, you're all going to be subjected to my, let's call them idiosyncratic styling ideas. Where when I say styling ideas, I mean like the way that I format my CSS. I do not put everything on its own line. Oh, yeah, would it be possible? Yes, it would be possible to increase the font size of the editor. That is a good idea. I'll go with 24 point. Yeah, that seems excessive. I'm going to stick with 18 for now because I don't want it to completely overrun the page, but let me leave it there for now and maybe I'll bump it up in a bit. Yeah, wait. Back. Woo! You're also going to be subjected to my typing skills, such as they are. I'm going to want a different color on that color. I don't know, white, whatever. Probably a little bit of padding as well. So padding, I'm going to go with one CH on the top and bottom and one M on the sides. Let's see how that turns out. All right, I've done worse. Display block, text align center, font bold, impact, comma, stencil, comma, sans serif. And font bold 2M. It's not a valid font without the font size. There we go. Oh my God. This sure takes me back. I don't know about the rest of you, but I designed this site under construction banner in 1994. It's probably 640 by 480 at that point, but let's see how responsive that is. Oh, perfect. Okay. I could go get one of the I could go get an under construction banner from somewhere. Like, do you all know about text files? The text files under construction page. Man, I can't type today. So this was clearly a good idea to do a live stream involving lots of typing on a day I can't type. Okay. Woo! No, that's not the page I'm looking for, though. Is it? No, not that one either. Is it text files? Wait, maybe it's archive? Yeah, you know, we all do this. Under construction free. That's not it either. Where the heck is that stupid? Does anyone have the URL of the, I think it's the text files. Let me see if it's in my, oh, here it is. Found it in my history. Those of you with problems with blinking are not going to enjoy this page, but I should do something like that. Actually, you know what? Yeah, I'm totally doing this, and it's totally going to be bizarre and weird. And I'm probably going to get some of this syntax wrong, just so y'all are aware. This is a case where I'm definitely going to want to pull this out because I am about to go with gradients. So repeating linear gradient, 45 degrees. And then, how do I do this? I'm going to go with FC0, FC0, 1M, comma, 1M, comma, black, 2M. And let's see if that actually works. Oh my God. The stripes are too wide, but it totally works. Okay. I'm going to go with CH. Let's see if that's any better. I don't know how many of you have used CH units before. Oh, oops. Not 2M, 2CH. CH, people talk about this as if it's CH's characters. It's actually not characters, although it kind of stands in for that. CH actually stands for the zero width advance, or is it, maybe it's zero width advance, where it's this right here. See the zero that I've highlighted? It might not be easy to tell that I've highlighted it in the stream, but this zero right here, that is one CH. A CH is the width of the zero character in the font that you're using. So that's not necessarily, you know, if it's a monospace font, then sure, one CH is one character because the zero is the same width as everything else. But in a proportional font, zeros are usually not the same width as everything else. So if you say something like 80 CH, it actually ends up being less usually. Let's see. I don't just want that. I gotta black out the, let's see. Oh, this is where I do stupid background tricks. All right. Linear gradient, not Moz linear gradient. Thank you. It doesn't really matter. So to top. Oops. 0, 0, 0, comma, 0, 0, 0. So that should, at the moment, fill in the entire background. Oh no, sorry. See, I don't know how many of you have gotten this wrong, but I got it wrong. See, what I just did there was I put that black linear gradient in underneath the repeating linear gradient because I always think whatever comes later in the style sheet wins, but these are exactly in backgrounds, like multiple backgrounds, it's exactly the opposite. Whatever is on top in the list is visually on top. And it totally bit me right there. There we go. See, so I moved linear gradient up. Oops. I know I'm going to figure out how to do this. Nope, never mind. Where's my, there it is, control. That puts it on top of the repeating linear gradient. Okay. And I get that wrong constantly. Like every flippin' time I layer multiples of these together, I always end up putting them in the wrong order at first because I'm like, oh, well, if I want it to be primary over the previous background, of course I put it later because that's how the rest of CSS works. Nope, not so much. Okay. Going back to this background clip, I want that black linear gradient to be constrained to the content box, and then I want the others to fill out border box, border box. Let's see if that works. That totally worked. Yes. There's an advantage to just having written a book about this, is that I can actually remember these things. But it went to the content box, not the padding box. Am I okay with that? I'm probably okay with that. I'm going to change the color of this to be the same as the stripes. Oops. You know what? That'll do. That'll do for now. I should probably be reported to the standards police for having done this, but I'm doing it anyway. Okay. Yeah. So having done that, some of you may have noticed there's no CSS reset happening here. And I'm probably not going to do it right now. I'm not sure I'm going to do it at all. I really want to concentrate more on the structure here. I just wanted to get this up so that it was, on every page, or most pages. It's not going to be on every single page, but it'll be on most pages. But yeah, looking at the structure of this stuff, like this is oh, geez. These images are bigger than they really should be, aren't they? Well, I learned one thing today. I've been making my images too big. And I should really, at least my default images, and I should really start, oh my God. Yeah, I should start scaling these down. Wow. Okay. That taught me that. But yeah, I've got all this stuff at the end here. And I have more stuff at the beginning. And so obviously I've been thinking about this a little bit before I got started. And I've been thinking about the search box. And I'm just... when I put up a search box, it was kind of novel for having the ability to search a website. I mean, this thing is old. I'm pretty sure I put the search box up. Like it says Google search because at the time that wasn't a given. When I first put up the search box, people would have been like, "Am I searching Alta Vista or what?" And there was this. You can search the whole web from here, or you can just search, but nobody cares anymore. So I think I'm going to take that out pretty much. I just have to figure out what happened. There it is. Happened to my transmit window. But to take care of that, I'm going to have to edit in a couple of places, I think. Again, right now, what you're not seeing is me editing or moving around in my FTP program because nobody needs to see that. Yeah, like I have this whole search box and I've got these things that are part of this this page topper, as it were, right? Like the site, the masthead, which I called site mast at the time. That's this guy right here, the MyerWeb.com, and yeah, no, this is going. I don't need a search box anymore. And I don't know that I really need this anymore. Yeah, I'm gonna keep the skip to the navigation because at least at the moment, navigation/presentation. Clearly, I haven't looked at my skip links in a really long time because it used to be a long time ago when I stuck this up there that when I put this link in that I had style switchers so that you could switch presentation and layout and stuff, and I don't do that anymore. So let's just do this. Skip to navigation, and that skips people to the end of the page where the navigation's all the way down here. That's not even very good. Yeah, see this stuff's just got to get fixed. And a lot of it's just got to change. And that's not even getting into the blog posts and how this stuff is structured. I mean, this isn't too bad, but like I'm pretty sure I don't even have time elements in here. And I'm not even sure that this belongs up here because I'm thinking about it from the perspective of somebody who either doesn't get the CSS or they're using a speaking browser, right? They're having the page read to them. And this is, however it's going to pronounce this, a Newwwyear live stream to 26 deck, does 2007, 14, 4. Nobody cares. They want to get to the content. So that's one of the things that I really think I sort of had in mind to do. Like this is coming to the bottom of a post, this metadata stuff. I probably want some kind of time stamp up here, but a thing I want to do, and I have a routine, I have a function around somewhere, but a thing I want to do is I want to have it say something like a New Year live stream published today or published 2 hours ago or whatever. And then like this one, published 3 days ago. And then as you go down further, it would say, let me skip past that one to, I think the next one. Declining complexity in CSS. So 14 November. That one would say, 6 weeks ago, something like that. So, right. And just declining complexity in CSS published 6 weeks ago. Then the content starts immediately. I feel like that's going to be a better experience for everybody. Including people who don't have pages read to them or whatever. So that's a thing I've been thinking about is doing that. And then at the end, you can get the detailed information if you really want it, or if you get to the end of it and then it starts announcing metadata, you can be like, all right, I'm out of here. The closest of this text is bugging me, but I'm going to leave it. The way that the stripes come right up against this. I guess the other way I could do this is instead of clipping this to the content, this black background to the content box, I could size it and center it. No, I'm just leaving it. Heck with it. Maybe I'll fix it offline at some point, but I want to move on. This one, I'm going to do kind of the same thing I did up here, except I'm not going to make it that large. But put that down here, font 1M. No, I'm not using impact. Open sans. Why not? Oops, I forgot the last part. Color. Actually, let's go the other way with this. This might turn out to be a stupid idea, but I'm going to do it anyway. Yeah, that wasn't the best idea, but it's not terrible, so I'm sticking with it. Because this is my party, and I'll restyle if I want to. Okay, yeah, whatever. I'm going to make that semi-transparent. It's good. Cut, print, ship it. I'll fix it in post. Yeah. So those of you who are in chat, if you have questions like what was that? Why did he do that? Have you thought about this? Feel free to put them in the chat box. I can sort of see the chat box out of the corner of my eye, so as text pops up, I should notice it hopefully, and I'll try to answer questions, or if nobody has questions about what I'm doing or why I'm doing it, we could all respectfully talk about the recent Star Wars movie. I just saw it last night, so I can finally. Although, actually, we probably shouldn't do that in case there's anyone who hasn't seen it, because spoilers. We could all talk about the upcoming event. I don't know, whatever. This is more of a hangout. I know I'm doing it on YouTube Live, but it really is like a hangout, and I really mean hangout. Okay, so I had nobody in my house has seen the latest Doctor Who, so if you've seen that, also keep that one to yourself. Actually, I don't watch that much of it, but members of my family are big Doctor Who fans, and they're actually going to go see it tomorrow night in the theater. Can you tell that the geek is strong in our house? Okay, so I need to actually start moving on, doing this stuff. So I'm leaving that alone for now. And now that I've ripped it apart to a large degree. So I've got this file called extra that has all this stuff in it. And I just feel like, yeah, and I'm even calling PHP from it, which, good God. Wow, that shouldn't be there. That was irrelevant many years ago. And this is the page end. See, this is, yeah, see, it was supposed to be skipping to here, really. Whew. I've got this div with an ID of footer. So many choices. Screw it. I really want all this to go in a footer. I also don't really want to think about this right now. All right, never mind. So that'll all be at the bottom of the page where I could ignore it for now. Cool. All right, it's time to go into templates. Once again, looking at what I've got here. And these are, I think they're single. I'm not a super huge WordPress expert, but yes, I'm pretty sure this is correct. Okay. Well, let's find out. Delete. Well, no, it wasn't there. Is it here? Or did I leave it all at the home page? You know what? We're going in here. I think I was right the first time. No, of course I... Wait, what the hell? Oh, shoot. I redirected myself. Where did I redirect myself to? What just happened here? Why is the... Oh, the search is back because it's... now I'm inside WordPress. That's why. Why are you not going away? So I've got... This can go away for a second. Single... An index. I think I want page. Or do I? Do I want post? Look at page. Yeah, see, I've got all this redundant crap in here. What was I even thinking? Let's save that. There we go. Okay. Yeah, I probably should have planned this a little better, shouldn't I have? Sorry. Right, so like this is literally the WordPress theme post thing here. So div text, div. You can edit this entry if you're me. Where do I want this to go? I want this to go here, I think. Or do I? No. Ow. See, I've got the content, which I almost never do anything with. Except just spam in the content. And that's it. I don't even know what link pages does. Son of a biscuit. Let me put it above the footer and see what happens. Come on. Right, there's the side steps. This is super weird. Wait, so if I resave this. Oh, so it wasn't this. God damn it. Sorry. Maybe I want it here. There we go. Yeah, now we got it. Okay. I broke other stuff, but that's okay. That I can deal with that. Right, so there are the responses. This is the content. I guess I want this right after the content. And then did I throw in an if or something that, yeah, I'm breaking the rest of the page. That's always cool. Comments template, it shouldn't be that difficult. Well, let's take this out because maybe I don't need that. And curses. I hate it when I do this because I always look at this and think to myself, yeah, where's the thing that, because it was fine up here, and do that, right? It was fine when I pulled it from here, so why would it be breaking now? Oh, no, it wasn't fine. Never mind. Let me just put that back where that was. Well, I done did broke something. Time to view source. Figure out exactly where it's bombing out. Yeah, WP Supercache is installed but broken. Yes, whatever. I don't actually care. You see, there's a lot of this stuff that I really want to go away as well. Like all the Jetpack stuff. I'm not even using Jetpack. And what the hell? What's all of this for? Let me take out this end while else just for a second and see what happens. Because I feel like an if opened somewhere. Right? Well, see, here's the if. If have posts, then while have posts the post. Thanks, WordPress. Div class equals entry, and then it bombs out here. I probably should activate error reporting for PHP, but I'm reluctant to do that because then it will show up in the live production site, which I don't really think I should be doing. What happens if I take these two out? Does that make it less upset? Yes, that makes it less upset. So there's something about that. I don't care that much about the number of comments and the edit link. So I'm just going to take those out. I'm going to move this down here. And then we can be done with that. Looks like the li tag for the comments is where, yeah. There's something about that PHP, though, that I had in there that I just took out, because with that gone, then it's fine. So, okay, that's cool. I can move forward with this because this is enough of what I'm after. And then, yeah, I'm going to have to go in because this is one of the curses, one of the downsides of my weird setup that totally made sense in 2004, 2005, but doesn't really make sense now, which is that I put just my blog on WordPress, and I didn't let WordPress be a content management system for the site because at the time it wasn't a content management system for the site, and now it's way too late to change. So there's like this subdirectory, literally, of my site that is that's WordPress, and then the rest of it is mostly static HTML with some server-side includes. But I had to replicate that in here, so I end up with stuff like this where, I like copied and pasted things over from the main part of the site. And yeah, that's really inefficient, and I'm paying for it right now, but it's worked for me for quite a while, so I can live with it. Let's see. I mean, it means the rest of you have to live with it, and I'm sorry about that, but okay, so I'm just going to see if I can click back or if it bombs out. Okay, cool. So let me go back to the previous, so that's working. And I've got, a previous entry. Previous entry was the MyWeb makeover. This is showing up here. It's also showing up down here. I can deal with that later. Because I also have to deal with the sidebar in my WordPress theme. Yeah, this is me like just editing my WordPress theme on the fly. And this is one thing that was like super important back in the early days, this calendar. I'm totally just dumping this. Nobody cares what the latest month looks like as far as I'm concerned. Like, I never go to Vox dot whatever. I never hit a site and think to myself, when else have they published this month? No, just not interested. The monthly archives actually not working at the moment. That's interesting. Or am I on the wrong page? But anyway, I can take that out. Take out the December 2017 thing. Wait, where's oh, that's the wrong sidebar. I'm looking at that. See, this is where the inefficiencies are really rearing their very ugly heads. Comments template previous. Let me see. Does comments.php have all this crap? This is what happens, people. Sorry about my exhalations too. This is just I tend to breathe out through my nose. Search Eric's archive thoughts again. Anyone who wants to search is just going to go to there. See, something tells me I'm going to save this and it's not going to change. Yep, that's correct. But I need to get rid of that. This thing and this thing. The sidestep, maybe. And this is all, I mean, this feeds extras navigation. This is all stuff that really belongs at the end of the page. I mean, feeds, for those of you who do RSS. Old school, woo! Right, like here's my RSS page where you can pick up various stuff. And yes, I know that that's not how Megillah is spelled in the Megillah in Judaism, but I base it off of Megillah Gorilla. And that's how they spelled it, I think, for Megillah Gorilla. And if I'm wrong, don't tell me. Thanks. Okay. Is it in navigation? No, that's that. Yeah, this theme is going to be so much simpler by the time I'm done, just because eventually I'm going to tear all this crap out and I'm going to make it more normal. Yeah, you've now reached the boring part of this. Actually, it might all be boring, I don't know. But, all right, so there's my header. That's not going to do it. It's been so long since I've been in here. I don't even use this style sheet. I think this is literally like the base WordPress style sheet at one point that I like hacked the comments at the top so that it would tell me which theme was mine and the WordPress admin, and then I ignored it out thereafter. Sidebar single. I think this is what I'm after. Feed, search Eric archive thoughts. There's the calendar. Yeah, I think I just found it. Fingers crossed. And boom, there we go. Leave a comment. I've got 2 of these sort of see previous or next posts things. And then the links. Yep. That was where that wanted to be. So this is interesting. I have this after the comments. Sometimes I get a lot of comments. This should probably actually be up here with this meta information if I'm going to have 2 of these. Because this one would normally, the side step here, that would normally go in the sidebar, what's been the sidebar in the design to date. And I mean, yeah, but this doesn't really work. And I don't even know if I'm going to have a sidebar. So I think one of these is just going to go. In fact, I think this one right here is going to go. I'm just tearing all this stuff out. And this is going to move up to here. And then that should move that out, get rid of that. Yeah, and that puts that there. Yeah, see, to me, this structure is making more sense. I'm not claiming that unordered lists are the thing that should be everywhere, like not necessarily that, but just this source order is what I mean. Makes more sense to me. That you hit, well, okay, this site under construction, we got that part. But then you hit like the name of the site. There's a skip to navigation. Whether or not that survives sort of depends on what I do with the navigation. If I move it up in the source order to up here, then that'll go away, but I can not worry about that for now. Title, content, and like I said, there's going to be, hopefully at some point, I'm going to drop in a relative time function here to say, you know, today or 2 hours ago or whatever it is. Content, 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 more detailed, probably unabbreviated. I don't want to do this anymore. Unabbreviated date and time. Do I need the time? I might skip the time. I'm the only one who's ever cared what minute I publish something. And then the categories I want to keep. And then do you want to go to another post nearby, basically? That makes sense to me. Yeah, no sidebar, blasphemy. Very funny, Peter. Not blasphemy. Have you been to Medium? Anyway. But you know, I poke fun at Medium sometimes, usually not online, but you know, I got to give them credit for they took the content, they made it front and center, and that makes all kinds of sense to me at this point. You know, especially with how many people are doing this stuff on mobile. I mean, I do this stuff on mobile. I was looking up SVG coordinate stuff the other day on my phone, and some of it was very readable and some of it was totally not. And I, you know, and anytime I go to Medium, you know, whatever else you like or don't like about the platform, their content is readable. And I really, I need to keep that in mind as I do this. Yeah, so for a post, like for a blog post, an article, if you prefer, this makes sense. This doesn't. I think, what is this anyway? Is that literally, did I type those characters into the, I bet I did, didn't I? Yeah, it's not even generated content. It's human generated content. I typed the option 8 at some point into the source, so that's got to get fixed. Yeah. You know what? I'm going to make this more readable now. It's not, I'm not going to pretend that this is going to be the final styling, but I'm going to put some constraints on the body, and let's see, font. I'm going to go with 1M, I don't know, Georgia? Let's see what that looks like. That might not be great. I'm just going to go with serif for the moment. But I don't, like, I want it to be readable. So I'm going to do a width of 80ch. Oops, 80ch. Which, like I was saying before, is not 80 characters, it's 80 zero widths, like 80 width of the character 0. But because, you know, this will be somewhere in the 70 range probably, depending on the actual characters in a given line of text. And since I've done that, I'm going to go margin 0 auto to center that column. And that will do that. And that'll be nice and oh, okay, it's not nice and responsive. Not width, max width. Doy. And since I've got a margin, I probably want a padding on the side, so I'm going to go 0, 2M. Because why wouldn't I mix M's and CH's? I'm crazy like that. So, and yeah, that's too wide for mobile. 1M. I mean, I might bump it up later. Yeah, that should be fine for mobile for the moment. I don't want this to look like crap if somebody happens to hit it on the on a mobile device while I'm in the middle of doing this. But that's still, yeah, that's too narrow. I'm taking it up. Nah, so calc. I know it's super widely supported, but there's something about it. I use it, but I try not to. And I think it's probably something I need to shake a bit. But okay, so that's interesting. Stacy, you say calc 1M plus 0.5 VW. What are you thinking of that for? What would you apply that to? The padding or? And I'm not trying to say calc is bad or anything like that. It's just I have these, like, when you've been doing this sort of thing a long time, like the first time calc was used, it was like super slow and it was really easy to break things, and I need to shake that some. Yeah, I mean, I'm not doing breakpoints now. Basically, I sort of feel like I'm doing a calc in a way, because I have the max width of 100 CH, so you can see that the column gets constrained, but then as it comes down, it stops. I think that's enough for now, because I don't want to overthink that kind of thing at the moment, because I don't know where, things like, well, what markup is this going to be? I think right now the title is an H3, which it shouldn't be. It should at least be an H2, because this goes straight. This is an H1 and it goes straight to an H3. And should this even be an H1? These are the things that I'm going to sort of be working through as I go. So maybe but I can't make the post titles H1s, because when you're on the homepage of the site, there's a whole bunch of them and a bunch of H1s. We don't really have the outline algorithm anymore, so that doesn't, right? I want it, if we had the document outline algorithm, everything would be an H1 except for subheadings of sections, they'd be H2s. I would rely on the document outline algorithm and it would be fine. And we don't have that because we can't have nice things. So I can't do that. So I'm going to leave this as it is for now. It's actually, so the one thing I'm thinking about doing for calc, right, we can circle back, don't make me ban you. Because that's what I see in my spam all the time. Hey, just circling back on this message. Anyway, I'm just kidding, Stacy. It's okay. So where was I? A gentleman on Twitter suggested something to me, and I've lost his name, but I will include it at some point in a description, or when I use it, I'll have it. But he suggested something that I thought was really interesting, which was setting the font size to be something like font size 1M plus 0.1 VH. Right, so that the text would actually get larger a little bit as the browser window got taller, or maybe vmin, so that whichever is the smaller of the height or width of the viewport, which I thought was a really interesting idea. Maybe I wouldn't use it everywhere, but maybe on headings, right, on post titles or something. I could say, hey, this has a baseline of, let's say, 2M. Or 1.5M even, but you can add a little bit. Let me experiment with that right now. I'll do it with this. Let me just make sure this is an H1. I'm pretty sure it is. Oops, pretty sure, yeah. Sitemast H1. So I'm gonna go with, this isn't gonna stay, but it's a good experiment. So font size, calc 2M plus, I'm going to just go with 1 vmin and see what happens. I suspect that's going to be a bit much, but you never know. So once that's ready, if I reload, right, so that's vmin. So as I make this smaller, or did it break on me? Nope, there we go. It's actually using height as the min. That's weird. Let me go with 2vh and see what happens. Yeah, I could also use rems. Yeah, so see how as this height changes, it can't ever be smaller than 2m. And in fact, it will never be 2m unless I can somehow literally make the viewport be 0 height. But this will be like 2.04m or something like that. Like I could open up the inspector to see what the font size is calculating to, but I don't really care. So we do this. Maybe I wanted Vmax over here. Like whichever is bigger. So if I drag this out, yeah, see, now it's getting bigger as the browser window is getting wider. So I actually meant Vmax, not Vmin. I get those mixed up for some reason. Right, so that's a really interesting approach, and I may actually end up using it. I'm going to take it away right now because I'm not doing typography right now. I'm not ready for that. But it's an interesting approach, and something that I might actually use. I have a local copy of Neil Stephenson's Mother Earth Motherboard, the old Wired article that's literally the length of a novella. It's like 50,000 words. I have a local copy because they have a copy on the Wired website, but it's kind of busted. All the content's there, but it doesn't look right. So I like snarfed a local copy and I have it hidden away. It's not in a public URL, but I've been messing. I was like using it to sort of mess with professional typography type styling, and I might try that over there because I was using viewport with styling to get it to exactly fit, because that's a thing you can do too. Let me bring that back. If I this is going to be crazy. Ready? Yeah. But in a situation where I can get it so that it exactly fills out this column, let's say. So that looks like it might actually be something like 10.5 VW. Somewhere around there. Right, so if I had text that was going from side to side, then I could center it and scale it with the viewport so that it ends up being responsive with no breakpoints, which I think is pretty cool. But not in this particular situation. Nobody needs to come to my website and have meyerweb.com take up like the top half of their browser window. That's just not necessary. Okay, and I also, the white background is boring me, so I'm going to go with FE Fed. Why not? That is surprisingly soothing. How does everyone feel? Is that a little too dark for a page background, or are you digging it? Just let me know in the chat. And again, no judgment. You can dig it. You can think it's off. Just let us know, or let me know. And but that hopefully will give people. I'd like to have some kind of background color on the body, because then when people land here, even if they miss this site is under construction, they'll realize that this isn't completely unstyled. It's just weirdly styled. Oh, yeah, it is kind of Financial Times-ish, isn't it? Huh. Okay, here's where I pull out my own. So I'm going to do FED here, and I'm going to do FFF here, and I'm going to give it a few midpoints, and I'm going to blend that baby, because it does blend. Let's see how this looks. It's where, a thing that you've built in the past can pay off for you. That's too late. Let's take this. Oops, that's not what I wanted. That's way too peachy. February. That's a, ooh, no. FEC. See, this is what happens. This is literally what I do when I'm messing with colors, is like save and reload. Occasionally, like go to the color blender or go to a color wheel and just like spin stuff around, see what happens. Oh, the heck with it. Yeah, it probably could with a different font color, but I don't think I'm messing with that right now. It's either going to be FEC or FED. So this is FED, or sorry, FEC. This is FEC. This is FED. FED it is. I don't care anymore. We're moving on. Okay. And again, this is not necessarily permanent. Yeah, it's funny. A lot of people tell me that. I was like, why do you not use HSLA? And honestly, Hex RGB makes more sense to me than HSL. And I know that makes no sense at all. But I usually get there faster in Hex than I do in HSL, probably because I've been doing the web since 1994. And we only had Hex colors for like 15 years, effectively. You know, more like 20 now that I think about it, because when we got RGB notation in CSS, that was just, it was hex except in different notation, effectively, like in my head. HSL is new enough that it just, like, I get that it works for people, but it just, we're sticking here. But like I say, in the end, this is not like the final color, probably. And I might do something like linear gradient, to top. Damn it. Why did it do that? Here, I'll throw in an HSL. But see, here's the problem with HSL. I don't know where this hue is. So I have to make it up. I'm like, 42? Why not? So saturation is and then there's lightness. So if I make lightness 100%, so it's got to be like 100% saturation and 50% lightness. And I'll leave it at 1 for the moment. And then I'll take it to transparent, and I'll spell transparent correctly, at, I don't know, 20 VH, comma. And let's see what that looks like. Can't even see it. Linear gradient, to top. Did I literally get the same color? Well, I know 0 equals what red and go around the rainbow, but like in my head, I can't mix red to, like, where does this go? I don't know. Where's yellow? And I can look at I can look at a color wheel, or I could look at the Chrome logo, I suppose. But anyway, did I botch something? 0. Why? Because, oh, no, that's not it. Linear gradient, blah, blah, blah. It's still coming through the FED. All right, fine. 0. Let's bring in some red. Still not showing up. Well, that makes sense. All right, off to the inspector. Inspect element. Thank you. Body. Am I not applying you to the body? No, that's not my problem. Click that, click that. Oh, it's, duh. I was applying it to the body and not the HTML element. Good job, buddy. Very good. Okay, so it's there. I just wasn't scrolled down to the bottom of the page. And watch this. Deal with it, pink boys. All right. Yeah, that's terrible. Yeah, no, totally different strokes for different folks. But if I take this lightness down so that it gets kind of brownish, and then I do this to make it mostly transparent, I get like a little burnt document effect going on there. It might not be coming across in the live stream. I don't know. Anyway, that's the kind of stuff that I could do, but I'm not going to right now. But it, you know, having looked at that, and I did do something like this actually. I'm going to go off CSS TDG. So this is the table. This is all the files for Cascading Style Sheets Definitive 5 Guide 4th edition, where I did something like this. It's actually turns out to be a similar color, where there's sort of this quote unquote burnt look to the bottom. It's not burnt exactly, but there's sort of a shade here and a shade here. And if we inspect the element, I think did I do it on HTML? I did it on HTML. Like here's the whole, and I know that's really hard to read probably, but there's like a linear gradient, and then there's another linear gradient, and then it's got this in the background. That's where I got the 42 from, was from doing this exercise. It stuck in my head. Yeah, so like, and this is carried through this entire thing. I don't know, maybe I should just carry this background over. But anyway, yeah, that's what I did over there. Okay, that can go away. All right, so we're over here. It's Financial Times-ish, whatever. But other than questions of like fixing the extras here and wondering if this is actually how I'm going to handle this, I don't think there's a lot else that needs to happen on this specific, like on a post page, at least not at the moment. I mean, yes, I got to fix some of that stuff, but source-wise, I feel like this is pretty good. I might take the feeds out, but there's still people who, like, I literally see stuff on Twitter, I've seen stuff in the last week of people saying things like, I miss RSS. What are people using for a reader these days? Things like that. Okay. But I think I can leave it alone. The navigation, there's going to be navigation. Whether or not it shows up here or somewhere else is an open question. All right, so let me just go. I think this is the main. Oops. Ha! There's my WordPress install, people. Yay, that was fun. All right, we'll go to the homepage and see how badly broken that is. All right, it's not too bad, except for these enormous images that I have shamed the tribe having these up here, this huge. How big is this thing? 880 by 1136. See, I didn't think that was that big, but clearly I was on crack. So I need to do something about these images, but I'm not doing something about that in like the live stream. That's crazy. I'm going to have to do that offline. Restructure these to use the 2x and the 1x and the this source and the that source. I can't even remember the markup pattern because I've basically never used it for myself. Yeah, then this is ridiculous. 2048 by 1536. Good thinking, Eric. Okay, but anyway. Yeah, so this is all basically, I've got the excuse of the day, still running, still going. Got the excuse of the day embedded in there. Yeah, so for those of you who can't stick around, one of the reasons I'm doing this on YouTube Live is it'll get archived and it will show up in my channel. So that people can go back and watch it if they feel like it. So anyone who is here and has to go to bed or to dinner or whatever, you'll be able to see the parts that you missed. And I'll be, like I said, I'll be doing it for the next few days probably, unless I decide that this is stupid and I have no idea what I was thinking. But anyway, what does WP have built into it now, Stacy? You say WP has it built in now, but I'm not sure what it is you're referring to being built in. Unless you mean excuse of the day, in which case I need to talk to Matt because he never mentioned that to me. Source set. Yeah. Yep, that is built into WordPress, but again, because of the weirdness of my setup, I actually manage all of my images externally, I should really probably just stop doing that. I should let WordPress take over that kind of management. But yeah, it's all the blog post images are stored in a separate directory. They're literally not even in the WordPress directory. They're not managed by the media stuff, which is, let's be honest, probably a mistake. It's something that I've been doing forever, and I just never stopped and checked myself and said, is that a thing you really should be doing? Okay. Structure. Yeah, I need to get back to dealing with this overall structure. I need to go up here. Sorry, I'm looking at my FTP window again. Yeah, I have to deal with the end of the page. I can't just keep saying I'm going to ignore it, because I have like multiple pieces of content broken up across multiple includes, and that's stupid is what it is. That's just dumb. It kind of made sense once upon a time. I think because my thought was for a given, so my thought was that some pages would have the extra. Let me open up extra. Extra is what I've been referring to as a sidebar. And I'll bump that up a little bit. Right, like that's this stuff. It's the stuff that I put in a sidebar. But my thought was that, not every, I should get rid of this. Well, I'll explain what it was in a minute. But my thought was not every page will need these. They might need their own sidebars. So as an example, I know of one page that has that, which is good God. Meyerweb.com, and then if I go to the site navigation and I go into Toolbox and I go to S5, so S5 has its own sidebar. That's what this stuff is, like the downloads and the contact and more information. So that would be over here in the place of the normal site-wide, quote-unquote, site-wide style bar. That was how I handled templating, but I don't know that I'm really going to do that anymore. I feel like what I'm going to do with this is anything that should be on most pages should be in the footer on all pages. You know what I mean? So like if I'm going to keep the airbag advisory, it should just go in the footer. Like big footers are a thing now. We're okay with big footers, and I know I'm 3 years behind the curve on this one, but I think I'm going to end up doing a big footer. But I'm going to put stuff side by side so it doesn't go on forever. And whether I use Grid or Flexbox or who knows what, I have I'll prototype it in Grid, but what I leave it as is another question. But yeah, this stuff, it should just be in the footer. And then I guess if there are parts of the site where that shouldn't be the case, that are using the footer, then I'll just have them pointed at an alternate footer of some sort. I think that's the way to go. So, oops, I already had that open. So extra and page end. Page end is basically the footer. It's not. Right, there's a div ID equals footer, but this should all just be in a footer element. Like I don't even need this anymore. This should go. And this should go. And this should be footer. And this should be footer. And all of this, I'm just going to take this out and I'm going to put it over here. I'm not going to put it there. I'm going to put it here, and I'm going to get rid. Oh, I didn't. I didn't actually type option 8. I typed ampersand octothorpe 8226 semicolon. Those are coming out too. Okay. Right, and this I wrote my own WordPress extension years ago that sucked in my latest tweets. That's what that is, and put them in the sidebar, and then Twitter broke the part of the API that depended on, and that PHP thing has just been sitting there not doing anything for a while. So extra is going to be empty. Page end is going to be a footer with these various panels. Those may also get restructured, but again, I'm going to worry about that later. And then that means we've got, save page end. Oh, I'm probably looking, no, I'm not looking. Oh, I probably am looking in the wrong place because I'm on the home page. Shoot, I forgot about that. Yeah, again, the incredibly insane way that I put this together. Yeah, there we go. This could also come out, but I'll worry about that in a bit. Yeah, so there's all that. From here, let me just make sure. Test. There we go. Yep. Okay. So, yeah, this is, and this right here, I had forgotten that this existed, but I think some of the pages sort of in my area of the site, which is 90% of the site, 95% of the site, but still, I used to run a redesign watch. It had its own RSS feed and everything, whereas sites redesigned to use standards instead of like table-based markup, I would put them in here. So when Slashdot redesigned from table layout to CSS layout, I put it in the redesign watch. And it was actually the last one that I put in the redesign watch, because shortly after that, I couldn't even keep up. I am using BB Edit. BB Edit 12 something, whatever that is. Okay, so that's coming out of there, and eventually, I'm not going to subject all of you to this, but like I'm going to have to do a find and replace on my site, and all the places that I was referring to that I have a server-side include pointing to extra.html. I got to get rid of those. But I will, I'll do that tonight or something. I'm not going to do that in a live stream. I can't think of too many things more boring, than watching that. But this does mean, oops, that I have to open up the index page of my site. Yeah, because all this stuff is in here. And I can take that out because extra doesn't do anything anymore. I can take out this if you care part because that was me trying to be faux all whatever, like, oh, don't pay attention to me, but if, yeah, cut it out. That's enough of that crap. Right, so I actually need to pull the excuse of the day stuff over here into there. I'll probably have to deal with that include at some point. And then, yeah, ampersand UML semicolon, and ampersand copy, can you tell that last time I touched these templates was before I was using UTF-8? Yeah, so those need to come over there, and I don't need this, I need inc/page end.html, and I can take this out, I can take this out, I can take this out, and I can take, actually I can have this replace this script so I don't have to call that anymore. And I can hit save on the home page and hit save on the page end. And that didn't much change. Changed a little. I need to change where this is located because I don't want that to be the first thing in the footer. But I could put it here after the excuse of the day, I think. Yeah. And boom, there we go. Yeah, that's a problem. Whoops. All right, let me undo this very briefly. PHP echo date Y. Guess who didn't update one of their footer files last year? So I'm just going to PHP echo it. And there we go. Okay. And yes, 1995 is, I believe, actually no, I need to back that up. 1993. The oldest piece of content on here now, I think I'm pretty sure is 1993. Because the very first document I ever marked up, believe it or not, the Mystery Science Theater 3000 incomplete episode guide that was posted to Usenet, that was up through, I don't even remember what season it was, but Joel was still the host. This was well before they switched over to Mike. And there was just this big text file, and I marked it up. Terrible markup, but it was the first thing that I really did as a project. But that was in 1993. I finished that in December of 93. So that's, yeah, wow. Yep. Okay, so I need to figure out, I can get rid of the page end for now. And then this whole thing, I basically just need to mirror what I did in my theme. So let me get back to that. And I'm going to just do a thing here. Okay. Right, so I'm doing the meta. Copy. No. Actually, that's interesting. All this stuff is working here. Let's see if it still works after I move it. So that, I put that right after the content. So I move that. Let's see if the homepage breaks. And wait for it. No, it did not. Oh, that's fascinating. All right, well, that'll help me hopefully track down why it was happening before. Yeah, but I dig that. And what I should really do, I'm not going to do it now, but what I should do, since I'm calling PHP functions anyway, is I should, in my PHP, in my theme functions file, I should have a function that generates this, if I can. And again, like I say, I'm not going to do this now, but I'll do this offline. But that would make more sense, because then I could call that from wherever, and that would make this kind of stuff a lot easier. But yeah, because the WordPress install is not at the home directory. I have to, from the homepage, I start like reach into my WordPress install and pull out the stuff that it needs. So it's always sort of I'm not sure even what the term is. Outlier, maybe? Anyway. Okay. If anyone has like questions or, I don't know, things they want me to try, if it's not too insane, with the CSS, I'd probably be willing to try that. But this needs to change. This is where I always have to look up the PHP date format. Date format, date method. I really ought to have it as a bookmark. I hope Chad didn't die on us. The last comment I see is from 4:11 p.m. Okay, let's see. So I actually want this. Let me go back and look. Yep, no, chat's still going. See, up here I'm going to have how long ago it was. But down here, I think I'm going to stop being so precious about the time format. And I'm going to go with L, comma, month F. So I'm doing full textual representation of the day of the week, full textual representation of the month. I want a full numeric representation of the year. Oop. Oh wait, no. I want the day, the day of the actual day first. I want the day of the month without leading zeros. Wait. With the suffix, comma, year. So that should say, for today, it should say Tuesday, December 26th, 2017. And it does. I don't need that second comma. Heck with that. I might not even need the first one. I'm going to leave it at that for now. Let me see what this is generating. Yeah, it's literally just a date. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap this in a time element. Oops. Time and then fine, time HTML MDN, time element. Oh, no, wrong page. Time element. Right, that's what I thought. I thought it was date time, but I wanted to be sure. Date time equals, and then we're just going to PHP up the time. Time in the format that they expect. Must be a valid date with an optional time string. And I want to do it like this. So that's the, which one is that? That's one of the specials. RFC 2022. Wait, do I want, no, I want C. I want ISO 8601. Hit reload, see if I broke it all. There we go. +0. No, that makes sense. That's what I want. No, it's not. Shoot. I can't do it that way. I could always do seconds since the epoch. Yeah, because this makes it look like it was done at 14:57 Universal Time, and it wasn't. It was done at 14:14 United States Eastern Time. Dang nabbit. I'm going to have to construct this myself, aren't I? Because the +0, that's not, no. Not okay. Maybe I do need to do it in R format. R. Let's see what that turns up as. Nope, that didn't help me either. All right, clearly I did something stupid with my WordPress setup probably 12 years ago. I'm just going to have to leave it at C and figure out what to do at another time. I guess all of my posts will be 5 hours or 4 hours ahead of where they actually were, which stinks. But okay, so I can take out the time. I don't need the hours and minutes in here. That's going away. So we've got the categories. Category design, projects redesign, how many responses it is, which again is, I think that's actually that's a thing that I wrote, if I remember correctly. And then there's this, the comment status, and then there's the edit link if I'm logged in, but I don't think that's ever worked on the homepage. or if it has, I'm somehow not logged in. Well, see, I think, yeah, Michael saying his daytime local thing, I think I must have, at some point, I think I must have set up WordPress wrong. So it thinks I'm actually blogging in UTC when I'm not, would be my guess. And fixing 20 years of blog posts is just probably not going to happen. It's a thing let me whoop, I'm gonna put this over here. Let me make a note to myself. Let's see. WP date time. ET or UTC. Okay. I'm sure it's in dashboard reading, but I'm not going to dig around in my WordPress install in front of you all. Sorry. I'm willing to be CSS naked, but not necessarily admin naked today. So that's just the deal. Oh, wait, that takes me to the home page. I skipped to navigation. Oh, that doesn't work anymore. Oh crap, I gotta fix that right now. I didn't think of that. Bad, Eric. I broke the skip link. Oops, wrong directory. Duh. Page top. That needs to go to, what did I call it? Navigate. There we go. Ding, and it goes to here. So if I go into the archives, let's see, yeah, I get the edit symbol there. I don't really need it on the home page. It can just go away. And comments, I don't even know what comment status is. That's coming out too. I can always put it back later if I need to. Okay, so back on the home page. We're good. It says 1 response. It says 2 responses. I know WordPress does that automatically and it's commenting now, but it didn't when I wrote my function. Thank you very much. So, so we've got all this stuff. Yeah. All right. So we're 90 minutes, excuse me, into this. And, you know, it's something. I jump to the end. I want to see what some of these other pages look like. So the color blender is like its own thing. A lot of tools like the color blender just don't even have any branding at all on purpose, because I wanted people, like it literally says somewhere in here, here it is. If you like to have the color blender for offline use, view source and save it to your hard drive. Like everything's embedded so that you could literally have this as a local copy if you wanted it. The URL encoder decoder is the same thing. So things like that don't get the sort of the design of the site, but other areas do. In the CSS area, right? And this, I mean, it has this very minimal thing at the top, but this isn't necessarily intended to be saved locally, although it could be. There's nothing that would prevent it, but yeah. So I really feel like, what I need to do today, because I don't want this to go much longer than 2 hours today. This is 2 hours of me talking and all that sort of thing. I need to make the footer not be so insanely long. And I'm going to prototype it in Grid. Well, I'm going to arrange it in Grid and maybe rearrange a couple things just to see how I feel about the arrangement. And like slap a top border and maybe a gradient across it to make it clear that it's sort of separate from the rest of the page. And Yeah, I think that'll be a good way to round out the day for today. Footer. Display grid. Grid template. Columns. It is columns, right? I guess I'll find out in a minute. I should be auto-fitting, but I'm not going to. Repeat. Oh, I don't know. There's like 4 or 5. There's a bunch of things down here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sort of 6, but I'm going to go with 5, 1 FR. I'm just going to go with that for the moment and see what happens. Nothing. So what did I, is this, am I on the wrong markup here? No, I'm not. All right. Firefox tools, inspector, layout, grid. Oh, there's a grid. Oh, apparently. Oh, I have an equal sign in here. Well, that would explain why that didn't work. There we go. Okay. All right, so 1, 2, 3. Oh, this is separate. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't realize that. Okay. Border top, 2px solid black, margin top, 4m padding top, 2m. A lot of my sizing happens in m's, I have to say. I could try to break it out to be 100%, but I don't think I'm going to bother. So this is 1, 2, 3. I'm going to make it 4. Oh, that's interesting. Right, back to Firefox. This is I love the grid inspector people. It's the best. Wait a minute. Why are none of you in a footer? But you are in a footer, otherwise you wouldn't have a... Oh, the footer is inside something else. How did I do that? Oh, I accidentally put the footer inside the main content. Yeah, that would be a problem, wouldn't it? And then I have an extra div somewhere. In the includes, page end, div. There's my extra div. Okay, cool, better. Not the best, but better. So actually, I'm going to need a closing out div at the top of the page end in order to cut it off from the body. Not that it matters that much, but just from a structure point of view, I would prefer this. And at some point, I'm going to ID the footer, but I'm not doing it now. Probably. Just because the skip link, I might want the skip link instead of going to navigate to go to just the footer. And so I'll need an ID for that. Let me see. Maybe not. All right. So yeah, I am running Firefox nightly, for those who are wondering. But I'm pretty sure the basic grid inspector is in the public release channel. It's certainly in the developer edition. I don't know if the negative number, I can't remember if the negative numbers have made it out of nightly or not. But this is, I mean, this has been super useful to me in doing grid, just to be able to understand this and, you know, make the line shoot off into forever if I feel like it. And there is, you can see in nightly, there's a Flexbox thing, but I don't think it actually does anything at the moment. I think this is marked for future expansion. So, I mean, I could just leave it at this, but I don't think I'm going to. One of the things I'm realizing is that this is sort of a credits paragraph. Maybe this and this need to go together. The quote unquote legalese. And the last paragraph where I just give credit to WordPress. I could have a colophon. You can't see it, but I was making a kind of a... You don't want to know. Anyway, the face I was making. Yeah, this works for me for the most part. Maybe background RGBA 0000.1. And then that would... It doesn't have any padding or anything, but it sets it apart from the rest of the page. And I can, of course, always add padding to it. Well, beyond the padding I already added to it. How about 1M? 1M all the way around. Why not? That'll do. I think the only other thing I'm going to do here at the moment, oops, UL, list style, none, margin 0, 0. Oh, hey, Erica. Thanks for dropping by. And everyone else, too. I think Erica just dropped in. I'm not sure, though. Yeah, I mean, it's... maybe not none. Maybe I'll have hanging bullets, because why not? That's why not. Yeah, you know what? I'm leaving it. I do need to fix this. This has no business. I don't know why this free contributor thing is in an unordered list. That has no business being in an unordered list. I was clearly on crack when that happened. Tour. What the hell does that even mean? All right. It can either be in this list or it can just be on its own. You know what? I'm just going to let it be on its own for now. Yeah, that'll do for the moment. It's fairly obvious what all this stuff is, I hope, to people. It's still in a decent source order, so that'll work. Let's see. Skip to site navigation. Fair enough. I might... See, and this is the thing. Is the navigation going to be in the footer, or am I going to put it like literally up here in the source order? And I can't make up my mind. Or am I going to bust it out of the footer, but put it like right above the footer? And I don't know. Because I always keep coming back to people who are reading the page or who get it without the CSS. Right? If they're coming to read an article about grid, like, do they want to have to swipe past or read past the navigation in order to get to the thing that Google told them, or Bing, or AltaVista, whatever, told them they could learn here? And I feel like the answer is no. They don't want to do that. I don't know if it belongs in the footer either, because visually I kind of want to put it there, at least at desktop views. And so if it's part of this grid, I can't do that. Grid can do order, but I can't bust it out of the grid that it's in, I don't think. I could only position it, which is literally what I'm doing now. But yes, I could reorder these, and I could have this be part of this footer grid and just like put it across the top or something. But because it's a child of this footer, I can't fling it up all the way up here if that's what I choose to do at desktop sizes. I would have to have it outside of that footer. But yes, it totally can. Like if I want navigation to be the first thing, I can do footer navigate. And that I might have to make it an order of 0, but let me see. Yeah, I have to make it either 0 or -1 because all the others have an automatic order there. So now it's the first one because I gave it a lower order than all of the automatically assigned orders, which I think resolved to 0. Something like that. But this lets me rearrange it in the auto flow of the grid. I don't have to do it that way. I could do grid column 1 actually I could do grid column 1, grid row 1/-1, and that should have it. Except, yeah, then I have to do everything else in explicit order. This is the funky thing about grid right now, and I'm hoping that the resolution happens. But if you explicitly assign something to a grid cell, then all the other, it like affects the auto flow in ways that you might not expect. Maybe I need an explicit grid here. Let me go with grid template rows. Repeat 3 comma min content. Yeah, let's try that. Okay, right. So now, because I gave explicit rows, this is going from grid, this is grid column, let me vector again. It's easier. I don't know why it keeps defaulting to console. I got to figure that out. Okay, so navigate, which is the navigation doohickey here, is in grid column 1, and it's spanning from grid row 1 to grid row -1, which is the last one. So 1/-1 is a really easy way of saying, have this grid item go from the beginning of this grid track to the end of this grid track. And you can do it for columns too. I could have navigation go all the way across the top. But before, let me take this. I'll do the very silly repeat 1 comma min content. All right. So what's happening now is navigate is spanning from the first to the last explicit grid line here. See how there's an explicit grid line here that this line got solid. So it's spanning from the beginning to the end of the explicit grid. I only have 1 row, and it's in the first column. So the rest, like the next ones go cell, 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 and then the browser runs out of cells, and it's like, oh, I have to generate a whole new row down here, and then I can flow things into it. So that's what happened. This is actually an automatic row happening down here at the bottom. But if I set up, I could set up 10 rows, repeat 10 comma min content. Why not? And the browser basically, you know, Firefox in this case goes, okay, here's a row, here's a row, here's a row, and I have, you know, 7 more rows here. You can see this goes up to 11, which I did not do on purpose, but I'll take the joke and run with it. This grid goes to 11 rows. But they're all collapsed down because there's no content. They're all literally on top of each other. There's 0 height rows. So, you know, you can do this. I mean, I wouldn't recommend going crazy. Don't do like, you know, 3, 2, 7, 6, 8 rows. That's probably not a good idea. But you can sort of overshoot the number of rows you think you're going to need in a situation like this. And know that unless you did something in another style to force rows open in some way, like these are all min content. Well, all these extra rows that have no content, their min content is 0, right? If I said, comma 3m, then the rows will all be 3m tall, even the ones that have content that's too tall for them, right? We don't want that. But min content, they all slam down on top of each other. But I really only need 3 at the moment. But yeah, so that is sort of spanning this entire column. So if I made my navigation super long, then my footer would have like a navigation panel down the side and then go out to the side. Any particular reason you wouldn't use grid auto rows? Well, I sort of did that. Like I forced it when there was only 1 row. It was forced to generate an auto row. Like grid auto rows is only your way of saying this is how big any automatically generated rows should be. It's not your way of saying please generate more rows or please generate this many automatic rows. It's, hey, if you have to generate another row, make it, you know, 1m tall or min content or min max it, or I think you can min max automatically generated rows. I think this works as well. And for the record, I don't actually want my navigation to be this huge panel down the side of my footer. I don't think that would be very good. But for the moment, I can have it sort of be on its own so that if somebody comes along and skips the site navigation, like it's sort of, at least in in English, which the site is in, they expect it to be sort of up here, top left, and it doesn't have extra visual clutter around it. So I'm going to live with that for now. I could take it further. I think I can align self in Firefox. Oops. Let's find out. Yeah, so now it's centered. It's vertically centered in its column track. But I don't think this is widely done yet. I mean, I could leave it like that. People with browsers that don't understand the align self center, navigation will just be at the top. But for people who have browsers that do understand it, like Firefox, it'll just be right there, sort of in the middle and a little more eye-catching, so they can find the navigation quickly. Yeah, I feel like I'm actually going to pull this out a little bit. I'm gonna do this thing that I do that I really shouldn't, but I'm going to do it anyway. The body's padding is 1em, so the margin on this is going to become 4em minus 1em 0. So this will make it a little bit wider than the content, and then at mobile sizes, it will fill. And yeah, that's a problem. I actually needed to throw in a breakpoint to not grid it at mobile sizes, which I'm perfectly happy to do. And my breakpoint will probably be CH based. Basically, if you get to, I don't know, somewhere around 50, below 50 CH, that we're just not gridding. In fact, let's just do that now. Media. It's max width 50 CH, right? Something like that. Let's hope. Footer. Display. Block. Let's see what happens. Okay, now it's display block. Yeah, I took that too low. Too low. Let's go with 70 CH. Block. Yeah, it's a little crowded, but it'll do. And I could throw in multi-column here, but and it stinks a bit for mobile here. Actually, you know what? The other thing let's not do that. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to change the grid template columns. And I actually am going to blow this out a bit. I'm going to take this up to 6 rows, not 66 rows. And I'm going to make it grid template columns, not GERD template columns. I always do, well, I don't always do that, but I do it, see, I do it a lot. Grid template columns, repeat 2, 1 FR. And this is where I can hear Jen Simmons in the back of my head going, dude, autofit. And yes, I know. Because with autofit, I wouldn't have to be doing breakpoints to change my grid layout. I could literally have it say, I could literally tell the browser, however much room there is for these columns, like have that many columns, and then like wrap to the next row if there isn't enough room. And then, you know, as it squeezes down, it just redoes it. And I might do that eventually. It depends on how this turns out. But I also want to not do this. So I'm going to not center this. Align self. I think we still use flex start. But it'll be grid column auto. Grid row auto, and I'll use order in this case and see what happens. Order -1, and that should, yep, that'll make it first. So up to a certain, yeah, so it pops at that point, and below that point it does this. And in fairness, I'm not making fun of Jen for saying, dude, use that. She's right, I should. I just, you know, Jen and I have had enough conversations, I can kind of hear her voice. And you know, maybe this isn't the right order because this is a little weird how this splits, but I'm not going to mess with it too much further at this stage. But the nice thing about using grid here, of course, well, maybe not of course, those of you who've used grid probably know this. One of the great things here is that when I finally get down to really dealing with the footer and like what goes where, I don't have to touch the source. I can just use grid to throw things wherever I want them and like rearrange them and have them span rows. And do I want it like this or like this or like this? Like, it makes the prototyping so damn easy. And then when I'm done, I can look at it and say, okay, should I actually rearrange the source order here? Like what I've decided in this visual prototype, does that actually inform the way that it should be structured? And then once I've done, I can change the structure, but because everything's placed with grid, then I can fiddle with the structure and have it laid out the way I want. And then when that's all done, then I can think to myself, do I want to use Flexbox here because of the support profile as opposed to grid? Do I even need grid or Flexbox? Or am I just like over-engineering the hell out of this because what I really ended up with was a bunch of, you know, inline blocks or whatever? It makes it really a lot easier to do those kinds of things. I did a design prototype for an idea I had for the Event Apart homepage a few weeks ago, just rearranging it. And I did it all in grid. And like literally in my local copy, instead of taking away all the styles and building it up, I just used grid to rearrange the pieces that we had and do some style overrides. In the end, I realized that I wasn't going to move forward with it. And I ran it past the team to make sure. And they were like, yeah, you know, we see where you're going with this, but it doesn't really work. But it took me like 2 hours tops to get to the point of saying, hey, I'm not sure if this works. Does this work? And have people tell me, yeah, you're right. It doesn't work. Save me so much time rather than having to like spawn a whole new version of the style sheet and like rearrange the structure of the page, or like a new copy of the site or a new copy of the page. Like I was just throwing things all over the place, and I learned some things along the way that I might reuse in other places. But like I say, I like started at 10 o'clock in the morning, and by lunchtime, I was done. And yeah, you can go to the Event Apart homepage, and it will not look any different because we didn't deploy it because it didn't work out. But I learned a lot in a small amount of time, and I forget who it was that said it recently. Was it Jason Fried? No, somebody just said recently that, you know, if there's one thing they've learned in 20 years of design, it's how to fail more quickly, which really kind of resonated with me, right? Like, figure out how to fail faster, like so you get through that point of figuring out what didn't work very much more quickly. Yeah, so the CH. I'm going to go to a test page. CSS tests, index of CSS tests. Is it in here? No, it's in the CSS3 directory. And I believe I have to flip over to index. Okay, so this is a test page I have on MyerWeb. It's not easy to get to because I've been bad about that. But so here's, I believe, 25 zeros. And this image is 25 ch wide, and it's also 2.5 ch tall. This is 25, like this is exactly the same markup, except this paragraph has a different font, face, and size. And so you can see that the image, which is 25 ch wide, is at least within 1 pixel of being the same width. I think there are rounding errors because I made this larger. So these aren't quite lining up, but they're like a pixel off. And I think this is just page resize rounding errors. But they're the same width. So a CH is the width of a 0. That's it for whatever font face you're using and font size. So in monospace, it's the width of a character because all characters are the same width. But in proportional fonts, it's not that. So I use it sometimes just because it's a smaller thing. But yeah, it's not so bad. And there's also the Q element for those of you who are interested in that. It's a 1/4 millimeter. Not many browsers support it, but it's there. Okay. I think that's it for today. It's been 2 hours. You all have hung in. I really appreciate it. This will go up live. Not live. I'm sorry. The archive of this live stream will go up at some point later today. I don't know exactly when. And I got to go because it's been long enough, and also kids are home. So thanks for hanging out. Talk to you later.